Urban legends that turned out to be true. The horror inside the hollowed tree.
I knew I must have done something wrong. And I found her in my house.
Wait.
She's kind of...
Let me grab a drink. Grab a drink. Sorry for walking away so much. Let's lock in.
I am out at her house now. I just went in her home because I'm so worried about her.
This is 30-year-old Matthew Hoffman. He's just been arrested at one of the most bizarre crime scenes ever, filled with something so strange that you'll have to see it to believe it. After sitting in complete silence for hours, in approximately 3 seconds, you'll see him finally crack and speak for the first time, admitting that a missing 13-year-old girl was found in his basement.
What the fuck?
I can't tell you anything because I don't know.
But what he says next is completely unexpected.
Death penalty.
When Valerie Haythorne became concerned that something horrible had happened to her coworker after she failed to show up for work, she broke into her house only to find a disturbing scene. However, she would soon discover that her coworker wasn't the only one missing, and the truth of what happened was even more horrific than anyone even feared. The nightmare began on Wednesday, November 10th, 2010 in Apple Valley, Ohio, when 32-year-old Tina Herman, a reliable employee at the local Dairy Queen, missed a day of work. For most people, this wouldn't be a big deal. However, she also wasn't answering any texts or calls, all of which was highly unusual for her. Concerned for her well-being, Valerie Haythorne, Tina's manager, decided to drive by her house and make sure everything was okay. She saw Tina's truck was in the driveway with another unknown car and that the lights were on inside the house. But she still felt like something wasn't quite right. She called the police and told them that Tina hadn't shown up for work.
Sheriff Barber's office.
Hi, my name is Valerie Haythorne, and I work out at Dairy Queen. I'm the general manager out there. One of my employees did not show up for work this afternoon at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
Which is totally uncharacteristic of her. She's one of my managers.
Okay.
I drove out by her house and went and knocked on the door, left her a note. She's not answering her phone, which is totally uncharacteristic. She's not answering her texts, and she is not at home, but her truck and her coat are in her house. Her truck's there and her coat is in the house. I'm very concerned about her.
What's her name?
Her name is Tina Herman, H-E-R-R-M-A-N-N.
Okay.
I know that she and her boyfriend are splitting up, and he can be a real jerk with her.
Okay. Oh, do you have a phone number for her?
Oh God, I do.
How was Once Human?
Okay.
It was really good. We got a lot of stuff done. I thought I was gonna get off, and then I actually decided to stay on a little bit longer and react to some videos for more segments for my Clips channel. But yeah, Once Human is actually super fun. There's a chance that after this, if I'm still in the mood, I'm gonna play more. Do you like true crime docs? If so, you should watch Dear Zachary. Shit, I'll check it out. Fuck it.
That's fine.
After this one.
What was your name again?
My name is Valerie Haythorne.
Okay. Okay, I will have a deputy swing out there and check on her.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Anytime.
All right. Bye.
That's creepy.
Responding rather quickly, 2 different officers at different times showed up to check the residence, but when they knocked, no one came to the door. They left the matter unresolved.
Can't they get a search
an
warrant?
officer called East Knox Schools to find out if Tina's 2 children, 13-year-old Sarah Maynard and 10-year-old Cody Maynard, had been in school. They were told that both children were in school on Wednesday but hadn't shown up on Thursday. Soon, a man named Ron Metcalf was also contacting the police because his girlfriend, 41-year-old Stephanie Sprang, appeared to be missing.
What the fuck is going on?
She was Tina's best friend, and they'd been together before he lost contact with Stephanie. Ron had last spoken to Stephanie around 12:45 on Wednesday, but she hadn't answered any of his calls since then. Around 4 p.m. on this same Thursday, Tina's determined boss, Valerie, decided to take matters into her own hands. When she got to Tina's house, she noticed that Tina's truck was now gone from the driveway, and only the unknown vehicle was left. This vehicle would turn out to
Oh, okay. I was about to say, figure out whose vehicle that is. Apparently, it's
belong to
hers.
Stephanie. When her knocks on the front door went unanswered, Valerie decided to enter the house using an unlocked window on the back porch.
Breaking and entering.
Once inside, she saw blood in the bathroom and on the carpet, as well as splattered throughout the home. She immediately left the house and called the police.
Good. Good.
This is Deputy Sylvia. I can help you.
Yes, this is Valerie Haythorne.
Uh-huh.
I called in last night about Tina Herman being missing.
Mm-hmm.
I am out at her house now. I just went in her home because I'm so worried about her. There is blood everywhere.
Okay.
What?
Where are you at?
Why does this cop sound like... He's like, okay. Listen to that.
Blood everywhere.
Okay.
Okay. Dude, that's the sound of somebody who doesn't give a fuck. What the hell?
Where are you at? I'm sorry. I just got back today, so
Okay.
so you just need to kind of fill me in a little bit, okay?
Tina Herman works for me. She did not show up for work yesterday, and we have not been able to locate her or her children for the last. It's been 24 hours now. I just spoke with.
No, I'm sorry, ma'am.
Okay.
I just need an address. I just need an address.
481 Kings Beach Drive in Apple Valley.
Okay. Just
Oh,
give
she's
us a
trying to
few
hold it
minutes and
together. Dude, that's
we'll
so
be
sad.
around, okay?
Okay, that's
Don't go back in the house.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying in the driveway.
Okay, thank you.
No, right.
All right, bye.
Bye.
By Friday, November
Dude,
12th, the
that must be
police
so
were officially
traumatizing.
investigating 4 disappearances: Tina, Sarah, Cody, and Stephanie.
But how would one man kidnap all 4 of these people? How? How does that... I guess we'll find out.
The family dog, a miniature pinscher
Even
named
the
Tanner,
dog?
was also missing. The house was searched for clues, and the first discovery was very disheartening.
What?
The initial crime scene investigation concluded that the evidence indicated assault with bodily injury, including a large amount of blood and what looked like drag marks leading to the bathroom. There was also blood on the top of the basement stairs and in the basement.
What the
Something
fuck?
terrible had happened in Tina's home, but the exact extent of the horror still wasn't clear.
God, I hope they're
The first
okay.
suspect in the disappearances was the most obvious. Right at the beginning of the investigation, the police were told that Tina and her boyfriend were in the middle of a breakup, and her friends were worried that something may have
That is true. He said to fill me in. She starts filling him in, and he's like, ma'am, I just need the address. Because he already got overwhelmed with it. Yeah, he needs more training. He was like, okay. Yeah, there's blood in her house, and she's been missing for 24 hours. Okay. Fire that guy.
happened between them. Gregory Borders, Tina's live-in boyfriend, who was not the father of her children, was interviewed immediately after he came to the police station voluntarily. In his statement, he admitted that he and Tina had split up, but they were still living in the house together until either of them could make other arrangements.
Okay.
Interestingly, Gregory normally
See, that's crazy, because when I lived with... I didn't get that. I had to leave immediately. For no... Just because... It's dumb. I don't... You know.
has Wednesdays off from work, the day Tina went missing. But he decided to work overtime at Target Distribution in West Jefferson, Ohio, about 1.5 hours away. He worked from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., but instead of coming back home, he said he stayed at a friend's house in Urbana, as they had plans to play golf in Bellefontaine the next day.
It's a
It all
long
seemed
drive.
very convenient, except that all of his time was accounted for, and his friend verified that they had dinner together and stayed in watching TV. Gregory received a call from his mother around noon on Thursday, and she told him that Tina was missing. But instead of panicking and coming to help look for her, he just assumed she took the day off and continued to golf. Gregory only realized his assumption couldn't have been more wrong when he finally returned to the home he shared with Tina. There he found that an investigation into the disappearances had already begun.
No shit.
After investigators cleared the crime scene, Gregory's own family arrived with bleach to clean up the blood in the
They
house
have to clean
so that
it?
he wouldn't have to see it. With Gregory cleared, investigators had to move on to other leads. The next development was on that same Thursday when Tina's vehicle was discovered abandoned
Because you were harassing your roommate, I bet. Not looking good, Mavrck. Ban her from the chat. Ban her from the chat. Oh my god, dude.
in the campus park.
Look, I've done harassment communications because, like, I want to see my kids or, like, I'm heartbroken and all that. But I've never been a fucking... I've never, you know... there's motherfuckers who, like, stalk and actually harass, like... dude, it's crazy. I'm not fucking weird, bro. And it makes me sound weird when I say that, but I'm not fucking weird. Ban anyone in the chat who says I'm weird.
Lot of the nearby Kenyon College, with no sign of her.
I'm a lover boy, bro. I love everybody. I wish, even my biggest haters, I wish them, you know, nothing but the best. You know, like, I just can't imagine. The thing that's interesting about these videos is, like, it always makes me, like, get in my head of, like, what causes people to be crazy like they are? Like, how do you not have love for everybody? Even people that, like, hate on you. How do you not have love for everybody? Because people that are hating on you just, you know, like, it's usually not you who's the problem when they're hating on you, right? Or if they're doing anything. It's usually something bigger that you probably don't know of. So, like, I don't know. Just hating on people, just, to me, it just makes no sense. Like, you can be upset with someone, I get it, and there might be things that certain people do that gives you a reason, like, I guess, hate them. But it's just such a waste of energy to, like, hate on people. I think it's so annoying.
Or anyone else. But it was something at the crime scene back at Tina's house that soon became the most promising piece of evidence. Investigators found Walmart shopping bags containing 2 tarps and a box of heavy-duty trash bags. Now, that's not a good sign at all. But in this case, it was also the investigation's big break because, along with the shopping bags, they also found a receipt for the purchase.
Oh!
Detectives wasted no time requesting the surveillance footage from the Walmart in
Hurt
Mount
people,
Vernon
hurt people.
and
Facts.
began scouring it for someone making the suspicious purchase of garbage bags and tarps, along with a turkey sandwich and a t-shirt which was seen on the receipt. It wasn't long before they found him, buying the items just after midnight on Thursday morning. Just to be sure they had the right guy, investigators obtained a copy of the receipt from the suspicious transaction and compared the product codes with the receipt they found at the crime scene. They matched.
They straight leaked the manager's name. Dennis Ernest straight leaked it.
The suspect was a white male, 25 to 40 years old, with brown hair.
Never been the type to hold a grudge. Yeah, so, like, especially, like, that reminds me, like, my situation. Like, I was a piece of shit boyfriend, and, like, you know, I argued a lot, and, you know, I never gave my girlfriends what they deserved from a man. I was honestly, you know, I mean, the best way to, and I always say it, the best way to put it is I was a piece of shit, bro. I wish that I could have been a better boyfriend to them, not so that they would have stayed with me, but because nobody deserves to be, you know, brought down as much as I would bring them down. With that being said, bro, the most I was just a piece of shit who needed to get my act together, but I was never like, I never had any ill will toward anybody. I was never like obsessive to the point where I would like ever hurt anybody or do anything fucking crazy. That's why it absolutely blows my mind to see videos like this where like blood dragged across the fucking carpet and kidnapping and bullshit like that. Cause dude, that's genuine psychopath shit. And I'm not kidding. Like, we need public torturing executions for people like that. We just need to bring that shit back. That shit's absolutely insane to me.
Wearing a camouflage shirt and glasses, he was caught on the footage leaving the Walmart in a silver Toyota Yaris. Using still images of the suspect, the investigators used the Ohio Law Enforcement Gateway to search for any owners of a silver Toyota Yaris. It was then that they found a name, 30-year-old Matthew J. Hoffman. His vehicle appeared to match the surveillance video, and in his Ohio BMV
Ain't
photo,
looking good for
taken
buddy.
only 16 days before the Walmart footage was caught, he was even wearing a camouflage shirt similar to the one in the video. Obviously, the police knew they had to talk to him,
See,
but
this guy
Matthew had
looks-
2 possible addresses.
This guy looks like he kidnaps women, right? Is that fair to say? Am I allowed to say that? People think I'm weird as fuck too, I'm sure. LOL, they just don't understand our sense of humor. Yeah, I mean, people think I'm weird because, like, after everything that happened with my relationships, I spent a long time not talking to people in the real world. And weirdly enough, you would never believe it, but I just, like, kind of, for a long time, forgot how to, like, talk to people or engage in conversation or maintain a conversation. And it has taken a lot to be as, you know, I'm not good. Sometimes I get overwhelmed in conversation, but dude, I actually didn't think that was ever a thing that could happen where like you forget how to have like normal conversations with people. Like such a weird feeling, but I've bounced back.
One belonged to his mother, Patricia Heglin, and was only 0.4 miles from Tina's home. The other was registered under his name and was only 10.
By the way, it's because I was guilty of everything. I was like, I'm such a bad person. Like, I shouldn't talk to people, and I don't deserve to talk to people, and that's my mindset for a long time. But that obviously wasn't true. Worked on myself. I'm better. We're back, baby.
Miles from Tina's. If there was any doubt that Matthew was the right guy, a search of the Knox County Sheriff's Office revealed that he had actually been stopped near where Tina's van was found within the same hour that it was discovered.
All right, ban him.
An
Ban him from the
officer had stopped
chat.
him to
Ban Buddy from the chat. By the way, Razor, I've been live for 8 hours today. That's longer than you've been live during your entire subathon so far, and you're on day 4. Just wanted to point that out.
ask why he was in the area, but believing nothing was amiss, let him go. The sheriff's office also revealed that there was also a report of domestic violence between Matthew and his then living girlfriend that occurred about 1 month before the disappearances. During an argument, Matthew allegedly choked his now ex-girlfriend.
Wow!
It was also discovered that following the breakup, Matthew had just recently been fired from his job as a tree trimmer for apparently making his supervisor uncomfortable. His ex-girlfriend was contacted, and she told the police that Matthew no longer lived at his mother's house and hadn't for several months.
This is your guy.
Finally, the police knew where to look for Tina, Sarah, Cody, and Stephanie.
Same guy that smells like Funyuns. Damn, he's trying to be like you? Yo, mods, why the fuck is he still in the chat? Get him out of here, dude. The hell? Guys, be sure to subscribe, please. I need it, bro. Please, please, I need it, dude. I need you to subscribe, dude.
Once search warrants were obtained just 3 days after the disappearances, a SWAT team descended on Matthew's home. Because they weren't sure if Matthew had kidnapped the 4 people, they conducted a no-knock search and used a ram to force entry through the front door.
Oh, shit.
They then threw in a flash grenade before they entered the home. What they found was more bizarre than they could have ever expected.
These are actual
Matthew
photos?
was asleep on the sofa. He resisted a little by not showing his hands when asked, but he was quickly arrested and removed from the home. As soon as he was taken care of, officers noticed something particularly strange about the house. There were leaves everywhere. The living room floor was almost completely covered in a huge pile of leaves. At first, the police were worried that the leaf pile might be hiding something sinister, like a body. But after...
I think you might also be like me in the sense of a lot of what we say is more to get a reaction, and it's not that serious. Exactly, dude. Like, and people will make you feel weird for that, and I understand it because they don't get the personality type. Now, where does that personality type come from? Probably trauma, probably a lot of trauma. But I personally think it's just funny as fuck to say like off the wall stuff. Like I'll flirt, like Reckless. I do it with you. Like I'll flirt with Reckless, but she knows I'm not serious. I know I'm not serious. It's more for like the reaction to get, even if it's in private messages. It's funny to, in my head, to think that she's thinking, what the fuck? That shit's just so funny to me. And then doing it in front of other people, dude, it's autism. That's all it is. We're autistic as fuck, dude.
Searching through, they were relieved to find that this wasn't the case. Still, things only got weirder from there. There were also bags of leaves lining every wall of the bathroom.
What the fuck?
After breaking down the door of a locked bedroom, police discovered what looked like a marijuana growing operation that was not active. In a freezer, they found 2 dead squirrels lying right next.
This is your guy. Arrest him. You don't even need to question anybody.
To a few red popsicles. But the biggest surprise was hidden in the basement. A cabinet was blocking the doorway, but once moved, an officer discovered Tina's daughter, Sarah Maynard, lying on a sleeping bag on top of a pile of leaves in Matthew's basement.
That's an actual
Her feet
photo.
and hands were bound with yellow rope and duct tape. Alongside her in the basement were more trash bags filled with leaves.
If he's a guy that keeps dead squirrels in the freezer, check their basement. I don't care if you check the basement.
Police, Sarah appeared to be unharmed, but she was wearing a makeshift diaper made from a plastic bag. As officers approached her, she was very confused and told them that she was late for school and kept asking if they knew anything about what happened to her dog, Tanner. Sarah was likely in shock or possibly dissociating. When something very scary or traumatic happens, someone may dissociate to protect themselves. They may feel disconnected from what is really going on, or as
That's
though
so
they're in a
fucking
dreamlike
sad,
state
bro.
because reality is too difficult to face. Have you ever gotten in the car to drive home, and then suddenly you realize you're almost back, but you don't remember the drive? That is a very mild form of dissociation.
That's mild?
There was no sign of Tina, Cody, or Stephanie anywhere in the home.
I got so high one day when I was younger. I think I was 16 or 17 when I worked at Taco Bell. I got so high that happened to me. Somebody sold me purple weed through the drive-thru because that's just something that happened. I went by the dumpster and smoked it, and I remember walking back to Taco Bell. You know, I was still on property, but I was leaving behind the dumpster. I remember walking back, and I was almost inside. Next thing I remember, I was going to bed at my house. I still had 8 hours left on my shift. I disassociated, or I was so high for 8 hours, bro.
Investigators took care to photograph the way Sarah was bound before they freed her and brought her upstairs to wait for medical attention. Sarah was then brought by EMS to Knox Community Hospital, where she was thoroughly examined and questioned. Despite the trauma she'd endured, she carefully outlined every detail of what had happened. She said that she and her brother had returned home from school on Wednesday and were attacked by Matthew as soon as they entered. She ran to her bedroom, but Matthew grabbed her and carried her down into the basement. There he found some rope that was already in the house and used it to tie her up. He then left her on the kitchen floor for a period of time. She wasn't sure how long before he put her into Stephanie's Jeep and drove.
Was it Bob? I think it was. What the fuck? I actually think it was. What the hell?
Her to the Howard Ballfield parking lot.
It was.
He
It
covered
literally
her
was.
with blankets
That was the first time I actually talked to him.
and left her there. Matthew later returned
That's
and put
funny.
her into another car and drove to his house.
I remember being 16 and getting our first bag of purple butt, and we were all geeked about it. Dude, it was the best weed to this day that I ever had.
Once there, he bound her hands in work gloves and duct tape, had her gagged, and kept her locked in the bathroom in a closet before he put her into the basement. Sarah said that she believed Matthew had killed her mother, brother, Stephanie, and her dog, but she wasn't sure. She revealed that during the time Matthew had kidnapped her, about 4 days, he cut her finger with a knife, repeatedly assaulted her, and said that he was going to release her before Christmas. But he never told her what happened to her mother, brother, or Stephanie. After being medically cleared, Sarah was then released into her father's custody. Initially, after he was arrested, Matthew was placed under 24-hour watch after crying and threatening to harm himself. Eventually, though, he was brought in to speak with investigators. The following interrogations took place over 4 days and have never been analyzed before. The interrogator reads Matthew his Miranda rights, but he's almost completely unresponsive and barely even acknowledges the detectives.
Was this day one?
Paragraph says, my rights have been explained to me and I understand each of those rights. Having those rights in mind, I'm willing at this time to make a statement or answer questions. You understand that, Matt? Yeah. You understand?
It's possible that Matthew is in a catatonic state, which can occur with some psychological disorders, including schizophrenia. When the person is experiencing catatonia, they may be completely unresponsive with their body, like Matthew is now. It's also possible that this is his way of coping with the stress of the interrogation. Someone who is under extreme stress may limit their movements in an effort to go unnoticed, also known as freezing. Of course, it's also the possibility that he's refusing to cooperate to intentionally avoid having to answer questions.
You want to talk to one of us alone, or do you want us both in here, or you comfortable with both of us being here? Matt?
Soon they start to get creative in the hopes that Matthew will begin talking.
Hey, Matt, can I ask you a question? You look familiar. You look familiar to me. You, work out at the gym?
Though Matthew remains silent, he finally reacts. But what he does is one of the most bizarre things we have ever seen in an interrogation.
You know, other people, there's family members out there of other people, and all they want is closure. That's all they want. They've been up for days like you and I have, you know? Heart hurts. I don't understand sign language, man.
Matthew's hand signals seem to say that his heart is broken, This is, of course, not real sign language. However, it's certainly odd that he's using hand signals to communicate.
This guy's
But this could
crazy.
be an indication of Matthew's childlike nature.
What do you want from us? Tell me what you want from us.
Matthew sits with his eyes closed as the detectives try relentlessly to get him to start talking.
You want a couple of minutes here just to kind of think about all this? Because I know it's overwhelming for you right now.
I'm beginning to think Matt don't care.
He cares.
The detectives are speaking as if Matthew isn't in the room. They're likely trying to see if something they say strikes a chord and makes him want to chime in to correct their assumptions about him. When this attempt doesn't work, the interrogator tries another, more confrontational approach.
Somebody will cry today. If I make a phone call after this interview, somebody will cry. But I guarantee you, some of that cry will be joy. Because they know where Cody is. They know where Tina is. They know where Stephanie is. I know they'll cry for somewhat joy, Matt, because I've already heard it with Sarah.
Matthew tightens one hand into a fist and then covers it with the other hand, a sign that he's feeling very anxious.
What I'm probably going to do, Matt, is leave this room, and when I get away from these guys, probably cry like a baby. Because it's working on me, man. Big time.
Finally, after sitting in silence and almost completely unresponsive for over 4 hours, Matthew cracks.
I can't tell you anything because I don't know. You don't know? I knew I must have done something wrong.
Oh, he's gonna claim
I
crazy.
found her in my house. She kind of.
What's kind of crazier is he probably bought that bud for me.
Psychopaths often try to paint themselves as the good guy or the hero, like Matthew did here, when claiming that he took care of Sarah. This is a sign of antisocial personality disorder, also known as ASPD. However, when someone with psychopathy does something horrible, they will sometimes pick out one positive thing they did in the midst of all the horrible things in order to claim that they are good. What Matthew claims he had done to, in his words, take care of Sarah, was feed her, let her watch the movie Iron Man, and allow her to borrow his copy of the book Treasure Island.
Yeah, but you can't fucking tie a child up in your basement, you fuck. Where's everyone else?
So I was trying to figure out what had happened.
Matthew's claim to not know what he did is one of the mysteries with psychopaths and people with severe personality disorders, because they sometimes dissociate and can't recall their actions. This is particularly true for the very mentally ill psychopaths, such as someone with psychopathy mixed with psychosis. Other times, their supposed inability to remember is just their way of manipulating and pretending that they weren't aware of what they were doing.
At what point did you find her tied up in your house? Thursday.
Isn't that when they found her?
Did you ask her? Did you speak with her about, what happened? How did you get here? Anything like that?
She said I'd done it. I figured I had done something I didn't know. I just could try to put pieces together.
It still isn't clear what happened to Tina, Cody, or Stephanie, or where they are. However, given the evidence of blood found in the home and Sarah's testimony that she believed Matthew killed them, investigators weren't hopeful that they would be found alive.
Did you recognize her as someone that you had seen before? And, did you realize that this is a person you'd seen before that now was in your house?
Good question. Good
Did you
question.
make that connection? You don't know her? I mean, I'm just asking because they were the pictures on the camera and they weren't taken, at the time that this happened. So I was just wondering if you...
Oh, my back.
In other words, if it was someone you knew and then, wow, how did you get here in my house?
Oh, shit.
Because she said that she asked you a couple of times. Do you remember that?
I don't want to talk anymore.
Oh,
Childlike
what?
behavior is very typical of people with personality disorders, including ASPD. However, Matthew is extremely childlike. When under stress, psychopaths and many people with ASPD often regress to childlike behaviors, but they often do so knowingly as a way to attempt to manipulate their way out of consequences. A female officer, believed to be a psychologist, enters the room and begins speaking with Matthew one-on-one. She set up the room differently so they're more side by side instead of across the table, which doesn't allow Matthew to have the barrier of the table between them, keeping his distance and guard up.
I think what we were talking about earlier and kind of feeling alone. That's definitely how I felt when I went to Chicago. I knew no one there. I was the only one out of my class sent there.
The interviewer is trying to build rapport with Matthew and trying to make it seem like she can relate to him, possibly feeling lonely in a city where you don't know anyone. This is to make him feel less judged and to start moving him closer to a confession.
But you had a purpose.
Do y'all think he's gonna confess?
Ikigai.
What's that?
Japanese.
Oh.
Ikigai. Sense of purpose.
Mm.
He latches onto her comment about a lack of purpose. She'll now likely use this as the theme for why he did what he did, as he was receptive to it. This is a step in the read technique of theme development. When developing themes, the interrogator speaks in a soft, soothing voice to appear non-threatening and to lull the suspect into a false sense of security.
So I did go out to Colorado after I graduated high school.
Did you?
That's where I got into my first trouble. I did something really bad. I pieced it together, I figured it out, and I went and turned myself in out of my first prison time.
You went out there with a sense of purpose. I wanted to.
It is clear he likes playing the victim role, and the interviewer will allow him to seem like a victim to get him to confess. But admitting that he had done something very bad in the past, it shows that he has some awareness of what bad is.
Ooh.
So if there is any doubt that he's insane, this could show that he's likely not entirely insane.
I guess I burned down a condo. I did burn down a condo.
In 2001, Matthew was convicted of arson, burglary, assault, and motor vehicle theft while in Routt County, Colorado. It's believed that he set fire to a vacation condo to hide any evidence that he'd been staying there without the owner's permission. He was eventually released from prison and paroled back to Ohio.
It's okay. You didn't want to hurt anybody. You just wanted a release.
The investigator now offers a justification for his actions, saying he just wanted a release and didn't want to hurt anybody. This is another read technique used to make him feel more at ease with admitting to the things he did. She's proposed a more morally acceptable reason
Kinda
for his
looks like
actions
you, ban
that he
that
can
guy.
latch onto.
Ban that guy in the chat.
I don't
Appreciate
want to
that.
hurt anyone. It's not me.
Again, her tactic works, and he repeats what she said.
You know what antipsychotic medication is? I mean, it doesn't. I read about it. It doesn't directly address the problem. It's just powerful tranquilizers. I'll take it if I have to. I don't want to be a teacher.
It's interesting that Matthew...
So what do you guys think? Do you think that he actually doesn't want to be a danger and like he's actually having these problems? Or do you think that he is truly just a crazy psychopathic person who is just trying to manipulate the situation? Bro said, is that a fucking pizza? Yeah, bro, it's a pizza. They want him to talk.
agrees he will take an antipsychotic medication if he has to. It appears that he may be trying to claim that he is psychotic or was acting due to psychosis when he committed the crime.
Crazy.
Why do you think that?
He's lying? Okay, fair. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Because I must have done something bad. I wouldn't be here if I didn't.
Wow, that can be worked through.
Again, he's playing innocent and claiming to be unaware of his actions. This is not a believable tactic. And hearing this, it's easy to assume that he's lying and manipulating or playing crazy to try to get out of the consequences he knows he'll be facing.
Maybe
While
take
this
his
could
ass.
be the case, it's also
Well, the thing is, Maddie, he can go, like, they need to figure out if he killed those people. If he killed those people, they need to investigate further if he's actually crazy. And it's not sounding like he's crazy. It's sounding like he's playing a victim card, and he's gonna say that he was unaware of what happened. But it just seems like he killed those people. That's what I think so far, and that he's lying about, like he's acting like he doesn't know what happened because he wants to plead guilty because he wants to go to an insane hospital. Because going to a mental hospital is a lot better than going to prison for life.
Possible that Matthew has gotten used to dissociating throughout his life, meaning that he copes with whatever unpleasant or uncomfortable feelings he experiences after doing something bad by completely erasing it from memory.
Oh, like an old school
This isn't a
mental
totally
hospital?
conscious process, of course, because
Like a
people
psych
can't
ward?
consciously decide to erase something from memory. However, this type of dissociation is something a person can learn to do as early as childhood, particularly people who have gone through severe abuse during childhood. In addition, detectives found an extremely large number of leaves inside
I want to
Matthew's
know
home.
what that's about.
This is certainly unusual and may be a sign of a severe mental health disorder. One of the symptoms of schizophrenia is delusions, in which the person may hold strange or odd beliefs. Although Matthew
They need to figure out the leaf stuff now.
has made no mention of the leaves, it's possible that he holds some type of delusion involving leaves. The sheer amount of time that it would have taken him to gather that many leaves and bring inside lends support to the theory that he likely has a very strongly held belief about the leaves.
Okay, potentially, I can't, guarantee these things.
The audio
What
in
facility
these
you might go
videos,
to,
yes.
where you might go, what might happen, and the attitude that the people in the system are going to take toward you can be affected by the fact that you decided at this point to do the right thing.
The male detective takes a very different approach with Matthew than the previous interrogator. He's much louder, more aggressive, and more direct.
From the moment we broke into your house, found you and found her in the basement, you owned it all. You own it all. Okay? You can't do anything about the part of it you own.
Matthew clearly doesn't respond well to the detective's assertive and somewhat aggressive approach. It appears that he's covering his ears with his arms, possibly trying to block out what the detective is saying.
It's a good tactic.
He's silent again, and the detective allows the silence to linger in the hopes that he will make a decision as to whether he will confess. The detective mirrors Matthew's posture and body language here. Although this can be viewed as a way of invading Matthew's personal space, it could also be the detective's way of trying to connect with Matthew. The intensity appeared to cause Matthew to become more distressed. However, by mirroring his body language, the detective is relaying a message of understanding.
And if you didn't have a plan and you just put him in the Jeep or you just pulled over somewhere, there's weeds in the Jeep, so it looks like you probably pulled into a field somewhere and got some weeds done on there. If it's a random place, give me an idea where street it might be on or off of. But you gotta be able to narrow the field out for the whole county. And the dumping itself has to be less traumatic to recall.
So they're assuming that he
all the
killed
stuff
them.
that went on in the bathroom. Just tell us where to look. And I will stand up in court and say that you did. And I will go to Sarah myself and tell her that you did.
The detective returns to this theme that has Matthew looking like a good guy. He even uses Sarah seeing him as helpful as a bargaining chip.
Okay, I don't want you to get upset, but the reason we're driving around, and we don't have to drive around. Okay, remember I came in here saying that I didn't want to drive around unless there was some value in it. Okay? Right, that's the whole point, is will you see something that will, prompt your memory? But I want to talk about what the possibilities would be for that location. Okay? In other words, not across the street. You're not going to put bodies across the street. What would you do, from there? In terms of a place you might go.
We're not going to be mad at you if you don't know exactly, your memory's not exact. Because you have said that you want to know. You're afraid to find out, but there's a part of you that wants to know. If it doesn't happen, genuinely, then it doesn't happen.
I think he
I'm not gonna be
knows.
upset.
I think he knows. By the way, what's up with this camera quality in these interrogation rooms and the audio quality? You'd think that shit would be like a lot better, right?
Matthew seems to like the attention and pampering he's receiving from the detective and the psychologist, who are treating him with care and catering to him as they try to locate the bodies. The detective almost sounds father-like as he's talking to Matthew about doing the right thing. almost like a mentor, and the psychologist takes on a nurturing maternal role in her soft-spoken and calm way. Matthew's severe emotional immaturity appears to have elicited this sort of care from them.
You know, drive you, let you see.
They're cracking him. They're cracking him. Pause. Pause.
But that's all. That's all we're trying to do. Okay.
By the way, if you do these crimes, you always get caught.
Yeah, put your jacket on. We're gonna have to put a pair of cuffs on you. What do you use, big tray? Sure.
Or water, do you like water better?
Can we take a water too?
Yeah. All right, do you want to go to the bathroom before we go? Are you good?
I think I should go.
Okay. I'm gonna walk down with me.
Whether or not the police truly believe Matthew's claims that he can't remember what happened to the 3 missing people, they took him on a ride in an effort to refresh his memory. He didn't reveal anything. It's possible that Matthew simply wanted to escape from the interrogation room, and this car ride was a break for him from the intense questioning. The next day, Matthew is once again brought back into the interrogation room. This is now day 4. The detective removes Matthew's handcuffs. This is a gesture of goodwill
brought him
in the hopes
food.
that he will appreciate it and be more cooperative with them.
Does that need to go in the microwave or is it okay? Okay.
Giving him food and coffee are gestures of friendliness they hope he will reciprocate. The detective even offers to heat up his food again, trying to build rapport and seem like an ally to Matthew. He's just come out of his jail cell and may be even more receptive to the outside comforts they're providing him. He doesn't say thank you or appear appreciative, which further displays his antisocial personality.
You guys just starting your day?
Well, pretty much. It's about 9:30. A little bit earlier. You normally an early riser or do you stay up late and sleep in?
What? Hey, yo, start commenting what your predictions are. What do y'all think that he did? Tell me everything that y'all think. If you've seen the video, don't fucking ruin it.
I get it early.
This is just to get him comfortable with them again and get him talking. He clearly prefers to sit in silence, so this is essential for someone like this.
What are your thoughts today after the things we talked about and kind of left it last night with you feeling like you wanted to do what you could to help?
His behavior could point to severe trauma and/or mental defect. The detective realizes he must take some sort of action to get anywhere with Matthew and asks the other interrogator to step out.
I think he buried them. Ooh.
Chris, could you give us a couple minutes?
But they didn't find a shovel or anything.
Okay.
They didn't find a shovel, right?
Offer for you, but I want to give you what you asked for.
Changing the dynamic in the room can sometimes prove useful. The detective slides his chair closer to Matthew, invading his personal space to try to snap him out of the daze he's in.
This is not unusual for us. I mean, a lot of times somebody wants to talk to one together. She won't take it personally.
He could have took them somewhere far away. Yeah. But the thing with driving somewhere really far away with dead people in your car is like very risky, I would imagine. Like, because now you're driving like super far with bodies in your car, right? Razor thinks he's innocent? Oh! Plot twist!
Matthew shifts in his chair, positioning himself slightly away from the detective. This may be a sign that he's trying to decrease his feelings.
Or maybe throw them into the river. The issue with throwing people in a river is even if you tie rocks to their feet, over time, their bodies, and not even in a long time, like in a very short time, the water will like decay, like soften their skin, and fish will eat at their skin, and eventually, within like a month, your body will float to the top while your feet stay, sunk to the bottom. So I don't know if that's a theory that I would lean toward too much either. Because there's no way, I mean, you would have to put them in a box and then sink them to the bottom of a river. Or he could put them in the walls. But if they're in the walls, then their bodies will start decaying, especially because it's hot between the walls because there's insulation there, and then you'll smell it really soon. So they would have smelt it. I mean, that's a long time to run away.
feelings of discomfort about the detective sitting so close to him.
It's more than one time that I've advocated for the person that I'm working with as a result of how things have gone. So when I tell you that, this is what I'll do or what I can't do, or
when the detective states that he has in previous cases advocated for the suspect, Matthew quickly looks up and makes eye contact with the detective for the first time since he's been in there. This statement is...
Or he ate them. Ooh, it'd be a lot easier to get rid of bones if you eat them. That's a good theory. That's a good theory.
Piqued his interest and attention, and the detective should take note of this and continue to use this theme of him being able to help him.
What is that thing? Can you answer?
this thing here.
On the floor. Well, yeah, it's connected.
Well, that's all. That's just a surge, a converter that converts electrical current into a current that computer hooks up, and that computer is a CVSA, which is a type of computer that analyzes voice stress. It's kind of one of the newer types of lie detectors that they use.
So isn't that
Bro's speaking from experience. Ban that guy.
microphone?
No.
Despite Matthew appearing to be in a daze the majority of the time, this question about a microphone shows that he's aware of his surroundings and he likely has some sort of plan, which is why he's wondering if he's being recorded. He's likely not as lost and distraught as he's presented to be.
Duh!
What's the thing in your ankle?
That's my gun.
He keeps a gun on his ankle?
Just leave it there.
Matthew continues to delay because he keeps discussing things that aren't relevant and then asks to use the bathroom.
This coffee's kind of getting me. Can we go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Alright.
No. You're not going to try and overpower me and take my gun or anything, right?
No, you might. If you want to, you can give it to someone.
Okay.
So,
The detective is careful to not turn his back on Matthew, just in case he snaps and tries to attack him, especially after the comments about the gun.
you can even put the face on if you want.
Okay. Do we know this?
Yeah.
See, dude, their audio is so bad.
Talking about the gun and offering to have the cuffs put back on is a very unusual interaction, to say the least. It could be that Matthew might be aware of his own impulsivity. Perhaps he doesn't trust what he might do in a moment of impulse. The detective took Matthew to a restroom just down the hall from the interview room.
Chicken butt? Ban her.
I'm sorry. I feel like I failed you. I'm sorry if I let you down.
The detective is saying this as a tactic to essentially place the blame on himself for Matthew not being cooperative to see if that has any positive outcome.
That's a good tactic. That one usually works.
I've let you down. I've let Sarah down. I've let everybody down.
What? Sarah got recovered.
The detective may be trying to appeal to Matthew's
That's a good tactic. I knew that would work.
feelings about Sarah. Earlier in the interrogation, he oddly stated that he took care of her.
And I found her in my house. She's tied up. And so I took care of her.
The detective may be hoping that Matthew feels some shred of empathy for Sarah, so he'll provide them with the location of the other victims for Sarah's sake.
Good
Everything
tactic.
I've told you has been the truth. But I'm being truthful with you now. I mean, it's not just about you, Matthew. It's about her. I mean, like I said, I think I failed you. I failed her. Law enforcement, hey,
Razor said, you know what you should get? What?
I failed them before. But
Your mom's number?
I mean, that's the package.
Did you hear any of our conversation?
State of Decay 2. Remind me of that when this is over and I'll go check it out. I wanted to show you guys two things. Or my thing plus that. We'll watch that too.
No, once I left, I didn't hear anything.
Do you want to tell her?
No, I was wondering if maybe she had been listening with me. Listening to voices.
You wanted privacy, we gave you privacy.
So, are you probably not going to keep it private?
Matthew revealed something to the detective in the bathroom that he's concerned the female interviewer will find out about. He may feel embarrassed for her to know either because she is a female or because he still wants to appear like the victim as she was previously treating him.
Our conversation, like, is that this?
No, I meant a live. Buddy has been streaming for 8 hours. I've almost been live for 9 hours because my goal is to fucking pass you an hour stream because I want to prove to the world that you're a piece of shit, bro. And today is your fucking 4th day of your subathon, and I got more hours than all of your subathon combined, bro. So, just saying.
The only thing.
More hours in one stream than your whole fucking subathon so far, buddy.
My intention, I'll be honest with you right now, is just to tell Chris what we said. Okay? But I will tell you this, okay? If you tell us, I will keep that private.
The detective quickly realizes he now has some leverage over Matthew and uses it to create a quid pro quo scenario.
What?
Matthew and uses it to create a quid pro quo scenario.
Quid pro
Matthew is about to unveil a disturbing and unexpected revelation.
Same guy whose mom's feet are in my mouth right now. Please ban that guy. Get that guy out of the chat.
Horrific dream last night.
Okay.
It was disgusting. Getting a knot in my stomach. Yeah.
The fuck?
Awful. I saw some really disgusting stuff in the big garbage can.
Oh, he's giving him hints.
I was hoping I could make some excuse for you guys to kill me.
From what I've heard from their family, that's something that would just hurt them more. And hurting yourself is not going to help anybody, including yourself.
Matt said that the dream dealt with the food processing plant, where they chopped food up, and that there were garbage bags there that then he opened or looked in garbage can or bag, not sure which, and he saw, body parts, chopped up stuff. And
is he giving them a hint on where they're at?
I'm not sure what to think now in terms of whether he knows or doesn't know. He doesn't appear to have any concerns about
They're speaking.
consequences.
They're going back to that tactic where they're speaking about him as if he's not in the room to try to get him to talk.
In terms of trials and courts.
The detective reiterates Matthew's story as if he believes his version of events, but then makes it clear he's holding back additional information. This is to try to get Matthew to disclose the location of the bodies.
Matt, in terms of this deal I'm offering you, okay, I mean, so to speak, okay, can you tell us what you do remember? I mean, my concern again is with the location. Can you tell us what you do remember? Well, I thought you want me to talk about the offer you made to me, what you wanted to have accomplished as a result of the day, the trip.
I figured that.
You figure you already revealed that. I mean, in other words, you did ask me earlier, am I going to say that? And I said that, I would not say that. I would not give. See, what I'm figuring is that here's the I'll bring your rejection to take over this, but I just want to throw something away. I thought that what your concern was that I didn't tell him about the desire to have us shoot you escaping.
Matthew's secret is that he wants to be shot by the detective. The detective agrees to keep this a secret so that he may be able to carry it out. This is all just a ploy to try to get Matthew to disclose the body's location, as he clearly cannot agree to kill him.
And that because if I shared that then they would go to extreme measures to keep that from happening.
There's no trust on your side. There's no way of proving it. There's no way you can just shoot me before my nose.
You know that.
If I try to escape without legitimate reason.
But the bottom line is, what does all this have to do with not telling us where they are? How does that hurt things?
I don't understand.
Well, help me understand.
It's hard to tell if Matthew actually believes his claim about his dream or if all of this is just him.
Razor, after this, I don't know if you're still watching. I'll play some Once Human with you for, I don't know, a little bit. I'm tired as hell.
And buying time or trying to play crazy.
And nobody thinks that the person in this position that comes to this point does this of their own.
Loser or ban that guy?
Through their own fault. I'm not going to try and figure it all out, but I mean, I know, your dad and mom split up when you were 3. You went through a life without a dad. That's a major impact. It affects a lot of people in a lot of really negative ways. I know your dad was a 40-year firefighter, and you set some fires, okay?
His obsession with leaves and the fact that he accumulates a large collection of leaves in his home could be his way of coping with the abandonment issues related to his father, who reportedly was a firefighter. It's possible that setting fire to leaves, and thus his obsession with leaves, could be related to his hatred for his father or his desire for his father to notice him. People who feel lonely, hopeless, or empty inside often derive comfort from material objects because they might not be able to get the love and attention they want from people in their lives. As a result, they turn to obsession and fixations with things in order to feel less alone. In Matthew's case, accumulating large quantities of leaves may have brought him a feeling of fullness and comfort. However, it's also possible that Matthew may have some sort of mental illness and has some strange beliefs about leaves. One of the symptoms of schizophrenia is delusions. Yet Matthew doesn't seem to have schizophrenia, as he doesn't appear to be in a psychotic episode during these interrogations. When he does speak, he sounds clear, coherent, and he's aware of what's happening around him. He doesn't appear to be responding to any internal stimuli, as you might expect with someone who is schizophrenic. To our knowledge, Matthew was never diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Why is he saying schizophrenia?
I say this very genuinely. You are sitting in self-pity, and that doesn't even help you.
The female detective calls Matthew out for his self-pity and victim mentality. This is a sign that they are done using this theme to get him to speak, since allowing him to play the role of the victim has not produced any answers. She then directs him to think about the future and how he'll be viewed in the hopes this will get him talking.
Talk to you guys, dude, telling me that stuff. I don't have any money left.
Well, I disagree on that. I think you do, and you can.
Matthew is intelligent and knows that if he tells them where the bodies are, there's no guarantee of any real benefit to him. The most likely way to get him to give up this information would be in exchange for a plea deal, such as removing the death penalty. However, given Matthew's expression of wanting to be shot, that may not be motivating to him.
The prosecutors are pushing to have you come and have a hearing, and this is it. This is your last chance to talk to us, literally. And
Unless there's a lawyer present.
that's what they're pushing for. You're saying, you're saying you're still willing to talk to us without an attorney, but that's what's being done now as far as pushing for that. So this is your last chance right now to talk to us.
They'll come and make the decisions for you.
Yeah,
They'll take that away. They make it sound like it's your freedom that don't want to give you.
The detective knows that it's very important for Matthew to feel like he is the one in control, and he is calling the shots. He makes it sound like if he gets a lawyer, the lawyer will be controlling him. He knows Matthew won't like feeling powerless.
And the lack of media pressure can also take some of the other people that are, being affected by it. Sorry about that.
Okay. We're done. We apparently are told we're done. Keep everything we said in mind for you. Think about it and think about what you can do for yourself after you talk to an attorney.
Gonna hear my fast. Man, no, they're gonna take you back down to jail because for security reasons the attorneys can't meet with you here, okay? Remember, public defenders have their own interests sometimes in this, so, use your head. Okay, you're a smart guy. Take care of yourself. I don't know if I have a chance we'll talk again.
I hope we do. I hope we can talk again. They're here.
The detective ends things on a friendly note, calling him Buddy, and touches him on the shoulder as a last-ditch effort to leave a positive impression. This is in the hopes that he may at some point change his mind and confess to the location of the bodies. The
What if
big
they what if
question
they
here
never
is,
found it?
Is Matthew's strange behavior in the interrogation all an act either for pity, attention, or a ploy to get an insanity defense? Or is what we are seeing actually the real Matthew?
What do you mean?
Matthew later revealed that he made up the entire story about his dream about the food processing plant, where he opened a trash bag and saw cut-up body parts. He admitted that it was all a lie to try and get himself killed by the police, because he didn't want to be injected with Thorazine, an antipsychotic medication, for the rest of his life. He said he still didn't remember where the bodies were. In a written confession, Matthew admitted even more, telling the investigators that he'd been staking out Tina's home the night before the attack, sleeping in the woods across the street.
What the fuck?
The next morning, he watched as everyone left and then snuck into the home through the garage. His plan had been to burglarize the home and sneak away without anyone seeing him. He chose Tina's house because there weren't any close neighbors, and the door was often left ajar. However, Tina and Stephanie returned and caught Matthew in the act. He claimed he ambushed them in a panic. He wrote, "I was in a total state of shock. I wandered around the house, slowly coming to realization of what I'd done and how bad it was. During this time, I killed Tina's dog because it would not stop barking. It only got worse because then Sarah and Cody returned home.
Oh,
Matthew attacked and killed Cody before tying up Sarah." He wrote, "I did not enter the house to kill those people. I did not know a single one of them." Shortly after killing Tina, Stephanie, and Cody, Matthew drove to Gambier to collect gas cans from his own vehicle with the intention of burning down Tina's house. It was then that he was stopped by an officer who eventually let him go.
What
He
the
gave
fuck?
up his plan to burn down the house and instead returned to his own, where he built a campfire, burned his shoes, and drank a bottle of wine. On November 18th, Matthew finally cracked and agreed to show investigators the location of Tina, Cody, and Stephanie's bodies. It's unclear if Matthew's memory of what he did came back, or more likely, if he'd been lying about not remembering all along. He described the spot to officers where he dumped the bodies, hidden in the Kokosing Wildlife Area. As the detectives traveled through fields to a wooded area, other officers secured the perimeter. They eventually found a hollow beech tree that matched Matthew's description, which had a hole about 6 feet up from the ground. There was also a second larger hole near the branches. When an officer looked inside the hole, they spotted what looked like trash bags hidden inside the tree. Another hole was cut in the tree and the trash bags were examined, revealing remains belonging to Tina Herman, Cody Maynard, Stephanie Sprang, and Tanner the dog. Matthew later revealed he got the bodies inside the tree using the top hole and a rig and pulley system to drop them inside. There's some speculation that when Matthew worked as a tree trimmer, he had hollowed out the tree himself. On January 6, 2011, Matthew avoided the death penalty by pleading guilty to 10 felonies. After everything that was found, it was clear that Matthew had a bizarre obsession with leaves. Forensic psychologists testified that his leaf obsession was delusional, and they believed that he may have hidden the bodies inside of a tree because it was familiar and comforting to him. Matthew Hoffman was then sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Good.
That same month, his leaf-filled home went into foreclosure, and eventually the tree where the bodies had been hidden was cut down.
Jesus Christ, bro. That's so fucked. I'll never understand shit like that, bro. I'll never understand shit like that. Oh, shit. At least they got him, bro. At least they found the people and gave some justice to the... Jesus, bro. I cannot stand that shit. Yo, Razor, you want to do some Once Human? I need to get my mind off this shit, bro. Is that bitch ass even still on Once Human? Yeah, his bitch ass is on Once Human. Alright, let me get on since his bitch ass is on Once Human. He better answer. He better answer. He better answer. He better answer.